And we're back. So here I am creating a template for a straight row of posts that I used often during this build. Get everything lined up the way I want it. Obviously, once you have 2, then you can do 4, and once you have 4, you can do 8. So I'm using the bumpers to make sure that I don't get any vertical movement, and then adjusting. And there's the 3-dimensional template. So this is a method I use to measure. Also, I don't know, this is another thing that may have been obvious to other people, but when you create, I'm using outhouse seats here, when you create those items, as long as you don't rotate, all the items created will be parallel. So it makes it a lot easier rather than having to rotate them around to try to match up what you've already set down. And then I'm moving using the bumpers and the left stick only, so I don't get any undue rotation. So this is the building the ceiling for the Great Hall. Once I have that segment that's of the right length, I can try to jock it into position. I have the post set up on the end to try to get it as straight and even as possible. So here's the completed work, a little bit of work with some ends filled in with posts. I have 3 floor sections here. I built this from the top down just because it was easier to pillar glitch things if you don't have the floors already built beneath you. So now I've raised the entire top level enough to slide the next layer of outhouse seats in. And obviously, even if you measure and try to lay things out to the best of your ability, it's still kind of hit and miss. So just save often, because you will probably be trying to reproduce this many times as I did. So that's just what it looks like. Put the second row in place. Kind of a texture there. So now we have several rows completed. So here I have three floor rows, 3 oval floors. One for the basement, one for the main level, and one for the roof. But I'm creating a fourth one because I need to make the circular elements. So I raised this one up, made another one, created another one, and now I'm making the circular elements. And now I'm just going to hoist that circular element piece into position because everything was snapped from the levels above and below. It's all even, so I just need to move it up and down. And now I am bringing the entire ceiling portion down onto that row with the circular elements, and that part of the ceiling is complete. So this is back to the wall template. Starting from the top and working my way down, I completed the ceiling, and now I'm adding in the walls. And then I'll adjust the floors to match the wall level. So it's easy to see why it's critical to have a template to do something like this, because you'd never want to reproduce this every time. You'd never get it done. So now I'm just lining up as best I can, making things parallel using the lines on the floor tiles because those are parallel to what's above. So here we have most of the walls in. Now I'm just going to move the floor up until it meets the correct level for the bottom of the walls. So this is a template for the filler pieces that go between the wall panels that I've already set. I just used a bunch of posts to fill them in. And this one actually did not have to be height corrected, so there's nothing on top capping the height. And I could have pillar gushed these into place, but they just seemed to slide in pretty well, so I didn't bother. Just checking out the fit, making sure everything's tight, no cracks, open seams. So this is the creation of the arches. These are the double arches, and I used kind of the same technique that I used to create the template for the straight row of posts, but I just had to customize it to what I wanted to produce, which was a double arch. So now this is the final template for the double arches. Each one of those floorboards there that's floating in midair is a marker for one of the posts that goes into this double arch. So it was laborious to build, but it was a lot easier than trying to redo it every time. That would not have been feasible. So these are the lights that I put into the ceiling area in the circular elements, which I probably should have done before, but didn't really think about it until it was a little bit late, but I managed to get it done. So this is the template for the arching pillars in the Great Hall. I laid it out from the floor up above, tried to determine where I wanted the arches to come into the floor, to come down to the floor, and now I'm just moving this template down to the ground so I can work with it. And that's the final layout there. Those conduits are as close as I can get to the center point where the top of the arch would be. Now I'm creating the rounded posts or pillars. Just the same technique that I used before. And now I'm elongating this oval post. This takes a lot of fiddling, a lot of checking. And the reason I'm doing this is to create the transition at the top from two posts coming together into a kind of a cap. So there's a couple of oval posts. Now I'm creating the transition from two separate pillars into one piece. And that's kind of the final product of how the transition went. So now I'm building the caps using those transition pieces that are going to go on top of the arches. And that's kind of the initial layout.